Then she gets home a little later than usual, and they just have the same exact argument that they had before. Where Tori's like, I forbid you to see her. Why? Because she's a woman? No, because she's dangerous. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you know her well enough. I know her well enough to know I love her. If you see her again, I will stop paying for school. You're just sad, bitch. And then she leaves. And I'm like,
oh.
Grab some popcorn and stick around. We've got some garbage to talk about.
Hey, Luke.
Hey, Zax.
Okay, so you like Lifetime?
I love Lifetime.
And I am basically a trash monster. Or more accurately, as I learned today, a Pablum monster.
Oh.
Yeah, getting real classy. But something that they like to do, not all the time, but a decent amount, is reboots of their own movies. And today they're gonna talk about their reboot of the classic Mother May I Sleep with Danger.
Okay.
So, I'll do a quick summary. Tori Spelling, when she was like a young college student, she's dating this guy. He's very passionate. By that, I mean abusive. And her mother doesn't like it. Good start. And she deals with it as Lifetime mothers are known to do.
She kills him.
Actually, you know what? Honestly, if I remember correctly, the original has a very strong beginning because it shows us before he's not with Tori Spelling, he's with some other blonde girl. He ends up making Tori Spelling dye her hair blonde.
Weird.
To look like the first girl that he killed.
As Lifetime movies want to do.
Yeah, exactly. You're catching it. So he does stuff like that, but like it was high school at this time at the beginning. This with the first girl. Okay. And, so she was like just hanging out with some friends, and he comes and he goes up to her room, and before he shows up, she had just like talked to her friend about how she was gonna dump him because he's just like so serious. And he's so serious that he immediately kills her and wraps her up in a rug. Very serious. And I think it just ends with him like, I don't know, dying because he flew too close to the sun or whatever. Okay. Okay, so fast forward to 2016 or whatever, and garbage James Franco has a wonderful idea, but what can he tack it on to? Well, this beloved franchise of Mother May I Sleep with Danger, but this time it's not your mother's May I Sleep with Danger. Okay, so it starts off with what I at first thought was, so like we're gonna pan away and it's the real couple just watching this. No. This movie is about vampire lesbians.
How is it or anything like Mother May I Sleep with Danger?
They brought Tori Spelling and they brought the guy who was the creep in the original. They are both here.
Okay.
But this time Tori Spelling's the mom and the abuser was a really cool monster lit professor.
Okay.
So that's how they got them back involved. And it
doesn't make any sense, but alright.
Yeah, it's weird too because like, okay, so in this movie Tori Spelling plays a really conservative mother.
Oh.
And in the original, the mom was like, I guess maybe it's weird because it's like in that one she was just reasonably overprotective because this guy was really shady. Like at one point he answers like in the old one it was things like, you know, he just like answered to a different name and she's like, hun, the guy you're with, I don't think he's legit. Maybe you should look into that a little bit more. In this one, it's, you know, her daughter brings home a girl, and that simply will not do.
That's what's concerning. So, did James Franco direct this one?
No, but it does say story by James Franco, and he does appear in it. I think he filmed for maybe 2 days, because I believe he had 2 different outfits, even though there are several scenes with him throughout.
Great.
I think we see him interact with the other... He's the drama teacher, which ages like milk, if you know what he went on to do.
Also...
Actually... yeah.
Also concerning is maybe what he took from the first one was the mom in that one was just being conservative. You know? Like, she's being too protective. She's being conservative. And is too concerned about, you know?
Yeah, you know, okay, well, here's the thing. I think, I'll be honest, I think James Franco might just be a creep who wanted to watch really weird, softcore, goth, lesbian scenes. That's
entirely possible.
That's what I think. And I think they were like, well, we got this. What about we just stick it on Mother May I Sleep With? Fine, let's do this. Okay. Because we will get to James Franco's role in this movie. I have bones to pick with this man. But, okay, so let's go back. The movie opens with darkness, and it's 2 girls. They're having like a nice date. It's a blonde girl and a brunette girl. Things are getting hot and heavy. But all of a sudden the blonde girl stops because she needs to confess to the brown-haired girl that she is actually a night walker. It's like a vampire, but with some fun lore.
Oh boy.
So,
vampires didn't have fun lore, I guess.
Well, not like this. This is like, throw in like a little soul fic action.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So,
if you're a night walker, you know, you still have to do the whole... You know, actually, I do not know what the sun rules are, because but I don't know. We don't see them in the sun, but I want to know how that's possible because of some things we'll get into later. Okay. But mostly night walker, drink blood, have to kill people. But if you turn your true love, then you guys can just feed off each other, and you don't need to be murderers anymore. So that's kind of like being a vampire, but with like food stamps. So
how?
Yes.
What's the logic between what a true love is? Can you be like, because that seems like major incentive to just like turn someone who you really like.
Yeah,
you know?
So, yeah, no, for sure. That's, okay, so this goes into why this movie is, like, really homophobic, because, which, yeah, like, the metaphor gets really sloppy when you think about it, but I'll just say this at the jump, because we're gonna have to readdress it in all kinds of ways as we go, but, like... Okay. The moral of this movie, intentional or unintentional, is that, 1, being a lesbian is super hot, but it's only okay if you're in it for true love.
Oh. So if you just want to hook up, that's not okay.
No. Not at all. And we'll get it. Okay, so here's the other thing. So blonde lesbian, she tells her, I'm a night walker, and she does this by like she does like a smile and it shows that her fangs are really long, and I'm like, brown-haired girl, your tongue was all up in that mouth. How'd you not notice those?
How did you not get a little poke?
Yeah, like, ooh, ow. Those are sharp teeth. But she didn't notice. And also, she does this weird thing where she's like, and like it like pulls it back, so I don't know if they're retractable.
Oh, retractable.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess that's a thing. They're retractable fangs. That's such a weird muscle, I would imagine, to get
Where do they go?
I guess back in your skull sometime.
You just have like holes in your mouth.
Well, I guess it's like they're, because she had them, but it's almost it's such a weird look because it looks like they put out, you know how they like make it look like you don't have teeth?
Yeah.
It's like they put it on half of the front teeth just to make them look sharper. It was really strange. But anyway, that's like the least of my problem. Okay, so she's like, what are you even talking about? You're crazy. And she's like, no, we could just feed from each other. Not a good explanation. Not how you lead into this at all. And so then she's like, grabs her, and it's, you know, it's some essay metaphor, obvious, like, explicitly. And on one hand, it's like weird because it's like, okay, but again, you're making all the lesbians in this movie vampires, so they're all by default predators.
Yeah.
And then you added on to that an essay in the beginning of
predator, yeah.
Yeah. So already not great. We're not like gonna be receiving many GLAAD awards, I don't think. But you know, I didn't actually know. Like when I Googled it, no one mentioned that, so I'm assuming they did not. Okay. 2017 was a different time. But anyway. But okay. So that's what happens. Then she gets turned. But she's got like she's bleeding out her neck from the bite, and then she impales the blonde chick immediately, like no questions asked, which like fair, I guess, you know, like I'm not faulting her for that, but she just impales her, and then she's like, but I loved you, now you're gonna have to feed forever, or until you find your, she adds the "till you find your one true love" part, but I already did the die. Okay. So then these 3 coven chicks come up and they're like, okay, well, you roll with us now. And she like turns, and it's a very painful, horrific process. Fast forward, we get to go to and this is when I realized I'm gonna have to take notes for this movie. We get to go to our first scene with the bad guy from the original Mother May I Sleep with Danger, whatever his name is, and he teaches like a monsters lit class, because each session they're talking about a different monster, but they start off with vampires and sexuality is on the board. Okay, I'm gonna read this, and and we'll go through this lecture. Okay. So he says, now some argue that the insatiable thirst for blood makes vampires metaphorically sexual creatures. Bram Stoker, he takes vampires as a sex metaphor to a whole new level. He creates Dracula as a queer figure. So in contrast to Dracula, what sort of bond would Van Helsing have with his band of vampire hunters? Do you want to take a shot at what the answer to that is?
Well, hold on. Okay, was Bram Stoker's Dracula queer?
Well, like, okay, he's kind of a metaphor for, like, you know, how like, it's not a wrong take, it's just not a whole new take. Yeah. Vampires have kind of always been queer out, like, metaphors. That's not really, and, like, that's just kind of been what they did. But he's like, Dracula really changed the game.
Yeah, before Dracula, all vampires were straight,
I guess. And I'm like, I mean, I guess I don't really know the dates, because like the biggest like vampire things I can think of are like Dracula and Carmilla and like
Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah. I didn't interact with really anything except SpongeBob on that, so I didn't come to mind. I just love that SpongeBob clip.
Nosferatu is explicitly unsexy. Like, it's very interesting how even in the movie he's drawing in females as victims, but he's really not attractive at all, like purposefully. But, you know, whatever.
Well, that's fun. Okay,
Yeah.
well, okay. So yeah, so this guy, he's already like, so Bram Stoker really changes the game. Then the answer that a student brings up is that Van Helsing and his band of vampire hunters would be really like heteronormative.
Oh yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
As a foil.
Mm-hmm. And then this other girl adds, oh, good, so then, like, they have to kill, not good, but she's like, oh, so they have to kill Dracula to, like, affirm their own stuff and Victorian era homophobia, blah, blah, blah. And then this other student pipes in, and they spend... I, like, wrote this, that they spend so much time talking about Twilight that I'm like, maybe if we... this is, like, this movie is, because of this scene, by default, an addendum to Twilight Month. Okay. So, random student says, what about Twilight? Twilight's point of view is new, isn't it? Makes vampires good and cool. Makes everyone want to be a vampire. And then one girl's like, do you want to be a vampire? And then the whole class laughs at this guy's expense. And I'm like, he really was just trying to join in the conversation. I mean, it was popular, I guess. I don't know. And then...
I just feel like vampires were a thing before Twilight. That's why everyone got so mad at Twilight. Yeah. Because they were like, they ruined vampires.
Yeah, no, for sure. But they're all like, then this one girl's like, Twilight books suck. Teacher doesn't care that they're just mocking this dude to filth.
Oh my gosh, just like in the middle of the lecture.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're college age, so I guess he's just like, they'll handle it themselves. They're adults.
Still, in the middle of the lecture, I feel like a professor would be like, hey, let's get back on track, you know?
Oh no, just wait.
Oh,
so
okay.
So then, this is how we meet our main character. She pipes in, they don't all suck. The first Twilight book was good because it made teen sex dangerous again. So, this is weird. She's gonna come at Tori Spelling for being conservative without understanding how wildly conservative she is herself. Okay, let me finish this thing. So, Edward has to distance himself from Bella because of the blood, and later won't have sex with her because he's afraid he'll get too excited and kill her. And the teacher's like, and then that was the end of her sentence. And the teacher just goes, well, I'm curious to see where you're going with this. We're just gonna keep listening to you now. I didn't have anything else prepared for this session. In the past, teen sex was forbidden. A pregnancy out of wedlock was like death. But now in our day, we have teen mom shows and everyone can just use condoms. The first Twilight book was great because it equated teen sex with death again.
What is she talking about? Teen sex has been a thing forever. And, like, especially, like, how long ago is she talking? Because there was plenty of teens getting pregnant and married a long time ago. And then we got laws against that.
Yeah, it's so weird. I do not know what she's on about, really, because even if I take it at this word, she's like, her issue is that, like, before, if teens had sex, it was always unprepared. Yeah. Now, they have more information, and I don't like it.
And also, like, so... you don't think the movie is glorifying? Like, it made it dangerous again. I assume she was like, yeah, and I like that. Like, really, I mean, she does like it, but not in the way that I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, it's like, very strange. Cause she's like, also, before I continue with her thing, I just want to be clear that this movie is going to equate lesbian sex with death again. So maybe that's something we can... That's good. This, basically the thesis of the movie. Like, I'm just so sick of all these progressive lesbian things. Like, lesbian sex used to mean something. It used to mean being a pariah. You know, bring that back. That's what this movie felt we needed. Okay. And then she adds, and then they screwed it up in the later books when he started holding out because he's a Victorian gentleman. Then they actually get married as teens to have sex, which is just a way to cash in on teen sexuality while trying to seem morally responsible. It's absurd. Hun, teens getting married to have sex is not morally responsible. That's like the exact opposite.
Also, like, I don't know. I don't think they were trying to seem like anything, really.
No. But okay, so then like every teacher's like, "Oh great, you can catch up on her pop culture podcast after." And I was like, "Wait, what?" That was a joke. She's not coming for our brand.
Oh,
but
good.
Yeah, phew. She teams up with Abby Shapiro or something.
Ooh.
Golly. Anyway,
Girl defined.
Then we meet her weird... this guy is like sort of her best friend, except she like can't stand him at all.
Oh, I love that kind of character.
So his name is Bob. And they're both going out to audition for Macbeth, the play that James Franco's putting on at the college. So she goes, so this is the audition. So Bob, Macbeth's his little heart out, and it's like fine. And I think, I don't really... It's college, so, like, I feel like the acting should probably be better, but, like, I don't really know. But it was, like, fine. It was... If it was in high school, it would be amazing, but, like, I just feel like because it's college, it should have been a little better. Okay, then they're going out for this thing together, and he even jokes about, like, you'll be, like, Lady Macbeth for sure. Okay, no, she is auditioning for Macbeth as well, which is fine, but, like, tell him that, maybe. You guys talk all the time? I don't know. Anyway, so she comes out, and I guess, I don't know what the logic here was. Her and Tori Spelling both have terrible communication skills in this movie. That's why they're related. Okay, so she does this audition, and James Franco is like, "Oh, wow, how interesting. Yeah, sure, audition for it." Now, and this is something, I watched it with Bob, we kept looking. Remember in the beginning that brown-haired girl gets turned and 3 coven chicks come up and they're like, "You roll with us now."
Yep.
Okay, sometimes those girls are in the drama class, at least 2, sometimes 3 of them. It's very hard to know, but it doesn't seem like they ever have a conversation. We do not see them exchange words. Okay. Understand that for this audition. Okay. Main character is auditioning as Macbeth, not with the same words that Bob said. So she's just doing her own scene. She picked it out, and while she's doing this bold Macbeth thing, Coven Girl is just groping her from behind and like licking up her neck, and it's very weird. And James Franco and his assistant just look at each other like, "Ooh, eyebrows, hubba hubba," at this whole thing, and she gets the part.
What was that the plan?
It feels like cheating. Oh, you know our drama teacher's a kinkster. Let's just do that and win. I guess. But yeah, so they nail it, so that's great.
Literally.
Yeah. So then so they get to the audition. She gets roped like crazy. And again, they do not exchange words. We never see them rehearse these scenes. We never saw them, like, because we came in now, so I do, like, the captions told me their names. The movie did not. So we're going with Coven Girl.
All right, cool.
Okay. This time it doesn't matter that I don't know who anybody is. Okay. So then, after that, Leah that's the main character's name, by the way. She goes to meet up with her girlfriend, Pearl, who's the girl who got turned in the beginning. So now they're together, and it's like, oh no, we know where this is going. Okay, all their dates, every time they have a date, understand it begins with Pearl photographing Leah. Sometimes in the photo lab with a full, like, setup, like Leah's a model, or they'll just be like, out in the cemetery, but I gotta take pictures of you.
Okay.
And she's like, I just love photographing you. And that's just like all they do. And I'm like, okay, that's what you guys like to do.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Leah she doesn't seem to have any modeling ambition, but she also does not mind that all Pearl's hobby is photographing her. Okay.
I mean, yeah, why not? Just because you don't have modeling ambition doesn't mean you can't like pictures, I guess.
I just feel like, can we do like anything else? Like sometimes, like, especially because like we're gonna find out she doesn't even really go to the college, which like I don't know why not, but she doesn't. So she's just been like sneaking into the photo lab to do this.
Huh.
She says her parents were photographers. It's like, okay, great, but like, you have literally forever to take pictures.
True.
So, like, chill a little. But then we find out that she got Macbeth and Bob gets Macduff. And if you know Shakespeare, then you know that that's who does Macbeth in. Spoiler alert.
You say actor.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm in the habit of always needing to include spoiler alert, but like it's literally Shakespeare.
It's centuries old. Like if you haven't seen it by now, come on. That's on you.
This is another thing. Like, are you familiar with Macbeth at all?
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with it, like, after high school, but from what I remember, because, you know, it's not super important, they don't even mention this in the movie, and I was kind of hoping they would, because, like, they had, like, their little hot takes on Twilight. I was hoping maybe they'd have some hot takes on Macbeth. They don't. It's just they just like the hot witches, I guess. That's what they took away from the movie, the play. Okay, so, like, they're like, Macbeth, you are gonna rule the school and you don't have to worry about anything as long as they're natural born. And he doesn't know that C-sections are a thing until Macduff says, oh, well, I can kill you. I was born from a C-section. No! Which I always thought was silly. Because otherwise, what did he think natural born meant? Like, oh, no one hatches from eggs, so I'll be good.
I don't know.
Well, any Shakespeare fans out there you want to add?
Please let us know in the comments.
Because it's not bad. I just think it's a little silly that he didn't see that coming. Although maybe there's a part in it where he, like, tries to get all the C-section, like, get rid of all the C-section people, and then he just lied about having a C-section, or being born, not having one, but being born from one. Okay. Alright, forget about that. Back to this. Okay, so then, we meet Tori Spelling, and she's like, oh, I wish I could see you more than just on laundry day. And then Leah's like, oh, well, at least I went to college clothes instead of going out of state. And they both, like, joke because of, like, the horror, but also, like, it's very clearly not just a joke. But, you know, it's, like, their thing. But here's the thing that's weird, too. Because she's like, I wish I could see you on more than just laundry day. Except, like, we never see inside her dorm. At one point, Tori Spelling gets a late night call and she just goes, Leah, and she comes right downstairs. So, like, it seems like she spends a lot of time at home still. Not just laundry day. So, I don't know. Maybe
those are all laundry days.
I guess if she does it like every day, then like it seems like one, I need a better like clothing deal. I have like, because like they're really rich because Tori Spelling is like coordinating their annual country club party that I guess this year she gets to plan. Like they taught her and Bob, I guess, they're all part of this country club thing. It's such a weird thing that they mention, but it comes up because it does. Okay, so then Leah is like, well, I want to bring over someone special. And she's like, ooh, okay, that's exciting. I'll have to make something special. And then she tells Pearl about this dinner. And Pearl is like, isn't your mom like really conservative? I don't care. It's time she knew the truth about me and about us. I love you. Okay, cool. Did not mention that to Tori Spelling. So Tori, when she sees Pearl, she's like, oh, hi. Good to see you, honey, friend of Leah's. I was expecting, when she said someone special, it was a boy. I thought it would be a boy. And Pearl is just like, oh, okay. Like, what do you say to that? Because even if we weren't dating, I could still be special, first of all. But we are dating, so she doesn't. Leah doesn't say a word, which is also like, oh, no. Okay. Why did you bring Pearl to this? Okay.
Why am I here?
Then in the middle, and this is another thing too, because we know that Pearl wants to soul bond with Leah. At this dinner, I forget, Tori brings up, she's like, oh, you're a photographer, you kids nowadays and your artistry. And then Pearl is like, my parents were photographers. And like, okay. I feel like normally that would be, because she's like, oh, well, your parents must be proud of you then. Because it was like weird, because first she's like, oh, young people all want to be creative and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, my parents were adults, so shut up, maybe, lady. But then she's like, oh yeah, but like they're dead. And then Leah brings up, and this is the first time Pearl's heard this, about the time that her father was murdered going for groceries.
Jeez.
And it's like the way it's described is like way too real, like just like the state of America nowadays and everything. It's like really plausible, and it was really uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, one, I don't think this is like the first time you should have known this about her. Like, if you didn't know this, there's like so much more you need to find out before you, like, I don't know if we can feed off each other forever just yet. Okay.
I mean, but they will have forever to talk about it, I guess, so.
I guess, but I don't know. The only thing I can think is, like, if the more I learn about you, the more I don't like, then, like, where are we gonna be? But, and all I know about you is that you like to take pictures of me, and I'm cool with being photographed.
Yep. That's all you need to know. Perfect relationship.
So, okay. So then, Tori kind of gets, like, the vibe that, like, maybe they're gay, but then she gets up and well, actually, no. At this point, she was just, like, a little emotional at the memory of her dead husband. And so she goes to get the pie, because it was, like, awkward anyway. And then when she turns around, there's no, like, door or anything, so it's just, like, an open hallway. And then Pearl, like, kisses Leah's hand and is, like, lovingly romantic to, like, soothe her over, like, the memory of her father or whatever. And Tori sees this and she's like, and like part of me was like, don't drop the pie, because that's real extra. She did not. That was good of her. But she does come out, and now it's like, okay, but at this point you do know they're gay, so like how you act is on you. And so she starts bringing up this whole, I really thought Leah was gonna bring a boy home. do you know any boys she's been seeing? Like, she's trying to act like she doesn't know, but she, like, you just saw. And, like, on one hand, and then Leah's like, stop it, Mom. Pearl is my girlfriend. I'm gay. And then Tori is like, oh my gosh, this is so surprising. And I'm like, okay, you've had like 3 minutes. It's not like, this isn't a surprise. Like,
yeah.
But, anyway, so she just abruptly just ends the dinner. She's like, I don't know how to deal with this. Goodbye. And she gets up and goes downstairs. Leah never apologizes to Pearl for just thrusting her in the middle of this. And I'm like, this is the most awkward thing ever. But
I can't even imagine.
Terrible. But
terrible.
So then we move on, and I think, I don't know. Anyway, next big thing that happens in the movie. Bob and his friends are walking, and then first they see Leah, and they're like, oh, Bob, there's your girl. But then she's making out with Pearl, and they're like, you've been barking up the wrong tree. And they just leave, and I'm like, first of all, rude. It's one thing, like, I don't know if anyone ever cared who anyone was interested in, first of all. So I can't imagine any of this conversation, but like, Bob is very into Leah. Like, he's Gen Z Ducky, honestly. So I would not tease him like that. I would just be like, oh, them's the breaks, but there's plenty of other fish in the pond. Yeah. So, next rehearsal scene. Oh my. So this is like with the witches and the bubble, toil and trouble thing. And there is so much. This time, I believe there's 2 coven girls and a random girl. I don't know if it was like a scheduling issue, because they all sort of look like the coven girls, but when we get explicit scenes where we know they are the coven girls, they look different. So I'm like, was it makeup? But also, the reason why I don't know if Nightwalkers can go out in the sun or not is because they're in like this drama thing, and like so like the audition was when the sun was out, so how'd they get there? Unless they just like land, they come the night before and just hang out so we can emerge in time for practice.
Maybe they have an umbrella.
Maybe they're Marcelining it.
Yeah,
the aesthetic could be, but I never saw any umbrellas. Okay. But they're doing this, there's so much groping, and it's like 3 girls, and they're like all over her as she just stands there, like sometimes being titillated, but mostly she's just being so Macbeth. And we get to see James Franco, and at one point he turns to his assistant lady, and he's like, I didn't direct any of that. And it's like, what are you doing? Get control of your thing, because they're turning, if you didn't or you did, like, they have no direction. With her audition, she explained, like, I'm making Macbeth a softcore porn, and he was just like, cool. So, like, you're complicit in this. And also, if they just knew, like, it's so bizarre to me that he takes no credit for this. He is the director of this thing, and he just lets them go buck wild, and so he could just sit and watch them.
Yeah.
Be weird, creepy goth lesbians together on the stage while everyone, like, we don't get to see anyone else do a single other thing. It's very crazy.
I think it's a bit of a self-report. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that totally. This whole movie is one giant James Franco self-report. That's my verdict. Okay. So then afterwards, Bob tries to catch up with Leah, and instead of just rejecting him, she's never rejected him. She didn't tell him she was auditioning for Beck 2. She's never told him I'm not interested. She's never told him I'm gay. So he's like, hey, can we like go out later? Even though he saw them kissing too. But she says no. And then like, I'm with someone. And he's like, what do I gotta do, Leah? Like, I really like you. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I saw you kissing the other girl. Oh, so you're creeping on me? What a creep. And she just leaves. And I'm like, no, he's not a creep. He saw you, like, you were in a public place. He happened to see it. And, like, I don't know why he's still asking you out when he saw you doing that. But he did. And if you would just, like, tell him, you know, like you told your mom, that he could, like, take some time, maybe be hurt at first, but, like, move on. But, like, no. So... I'm just very frustrated by her, like, because you can't be like, if you don't know how to talk to people, that's one thing, but if you're gonna be self-righteous about not talking to people, then that's on you.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so then she leaves to, like, meet her friend or whatever. Then Bob does some digging. Oh, yeah, okay, this is, I think, just, like, bad writing, because this is the sequence of events. Okay, so Leah says, I'm going to meet up with a friend. Bob, I don't even know if he's, like, snooping on purpose. Oh, no, he is. Because after that, Pearl walks past him and they trade little stink eyes at each other. So he's following Pearl now. And then he sees her with the other night walkers. And they're like, you need to feed, don't you? And then Pearl is like, yes. And then they make out, which I'm like, that's cheating. That's not part of what you guys usually do. But then Bob is like, oh no. He immediately calls Tori Spelling and he's like, hey, do you know about Leah's friend or whatever? And she's like, oh yeah, I know about her girl. At this point she's like, cool. I guess she just needed a night, because she's basically like whatever about it at this point. Like, she's not happy about it, but she's like not, she was just like, oh yeah, I know she has a girlfriend. Like, those are the facts. She's just matter of fact about that. And she's like, okay, well, like, I don't know, she's bad news. What do you mean? Well, I just saw her and some of her friends, and, like, they're in our drama, they're in the drama with us too, and, like, they're real shady characters. And, like, he implies that, like, they do drugs, and, like, he never says explicitly what they do, just that they are shady people who probably do drugs or whatever. And Tori Spelling runs to the hill. She immediately is like, Leah, come downstairs. And she just comes downstairs. So who was the friend you were meeting? Your mom? Because you were in bed. You just lied to Bob. And you could have, like, you already told him you're a creep. I guess if you don't want him to know where you are, maybe, but not really.
Yeah.
Because the way it was not, I genuinely think they just forgot what she said by the time they got down to that part of the script. But, you know, go off. So she's like, you can't see Pearl anymore. She's into crazy shit. Like, she just says that. And it's also weird, too, because the way, either, like, her mic peaked or something, because the way she says shit is, like, weird. It's almost like for the Lifetime Movie Club, they put it back in. Like, they took it out for TV and they put it back in for this. It sounds weird. But anyway, she's like, she's dangerous. Never mentions that they do drugs. She doesn't mention any of the facts that Bob imply that she's scared about. So Leah's just like, you're hateful and you're bad that she's a girl, so I'm gonna keep seeing her. Which is like, yeah, you didn't state your case at all. This is like in Checkpoint, where he was like, you gotta watch the TV. Like, no one's saving you from a terrorist group because you told them to look on the news.
Right.
I'm still mad about that. It's just like, so he had so much evidence before that. Okay. Back here. Okay, so then we get to have this weird, cool music video-esque deal with the Nightwalkers, where they walk around seductively and vampire-y, and they hunt this random guy at a party, including Pearl, and they all... So here's the thing. Okay, they've been, like, hounding Pearl to, like, wrap things up with Leah. And every time she's like, I'm gonna do it, you know, like, basically like the next time we see each other.
Yeah.
Like it's really like got some like Grease Lightning vibes going on here with the pressure they're putting on her to seal the deal, so to speak. But the way that this works is so there's 4 including Pearl, and they each eat the guy's blood, but they each get a limb.
Oh.
So I don't know why they're so excited to turn Leah, because like where's she gonna go? The neck? She's gonna have to be on like each side of she's gonna be bumping into people if we each get a limb, or we'll have to get 2 people just so you can have an extra limb. This is not a good plan. You do not need more members. Like they're really like, it's so important to them that they have more members. I do not know why. I think maybe it's like a kind of like that's how you jump out, maybe, but I don't know, because
they never show that.
No, they never show why it's so important to them that Leah joins. They're just predatory gay vampires for the hell of it. I don't know.
Because I get it. Okay, yeah, that's what the producers, the writers of this movie think that like queer people are, right? Just like we just want everyone to join us just because it's the gay agenda.
I guess, because it's like it only makes like less sense. But okay, so then they do that, but then there's like rehearsal. Then like the next day or whatever, we see the rehearsal. It is just as it's like whatever. Is this, or maybe that's later. Is this the one? Oh no, yeah, this is not it. Okay, yeah, this is just another dress rehearsal. They're still groping her, whatever. And then she gets home a little later than usual, and they just have the same exact argument that they had before. Where Tori's like, I forbid you to see her. Why? Because she's a woman? No, because she's dangerous. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you know her well enough. I know her well enough to know I love her. If you see her again, I will stop paying for school. You're just sad, bitch. And then she leaves. And I'm like,
Oh. No.
What Tori Spelling, what did you think this conversation was going to accomplish? You gave her no new information. All she knows is you hate gays, and then you threatened to stop paying for her education. Like, why would it? That's always worked out well for everybody. Okay. So like I said, Pearl's coven, they approach her, they're like, you're wasting time. And then they're like, you better hurry up now before you have second thoughts. Again, it's never explained why that is. Then Leah meets up for a date with Pearl, and they're gonna have another photo shoot. But this time Leah's wearing a leather jacket, and like, I don't really remember if she did or didn't before, but she like shows them off, like, look at my new threads, I got a cool leather jacket. And I was like, okay.
So like, is it supposed to be like her character is changing?
I guess, like, I really couldn't tell, because like the vampires and Pearl all like, Pearl wears a leather jacket, but they all have like a really like goth aesthetic, and like Leah just kind of looks like a pretty girl and dresses nicely. It's like I don't really have like a way to label her style. It's just she wears clothes that look nice.
So maybe it's trying to show that she's like turning goth.
Yeah, I get. Now I'm bad too.
Yeah.
Okay. So finally, Pearl confesses to being a night walker. And she's like, but I go the Dexter route. I try to only go after abusive men. And then Leah gets kind of confused, but she just bails. This is a thing too. Okay, well, like, a lot happens, but okay. So, Tori, I don't know, I saw her, she, like, goes to, like, spy on, because she made a few calls, and she was like, I want to buy some photos from this person in your whatever. and Pearl, whatever her name is. And they're like, no, we don't have anyone by that. And do you have a different name? No, I'm pretty sure that's the name she had. So they're like, oh, well, there's no one like that here, so I can't really give you any more than that. And she's like, oh, okay, well, thanks. So she's like, Pearl is sus. But anyway, the coven confronts Pearl. As you can see, there's a lot of repetition. Tori and Lamar, like, you hate gays. Yeah, I do, but also bad. Then the coven, turn her into a vampire already. We want a 5th member to complete the squad. No. Okay, so we're doing that again. They go to the woods, I guess it was a cemetery, but I didn't see that at first till this point. But anyway, so they gang up on Pearl, and the first chick is like, what the hell are you doing? Because she just told Leah and let her go. And then Pearl says, it was forced on me, remember? I'm not going to do that to her. And then the coven chick too says, she's not going to do it. And then the first chick is like, she better do it or I will. And it's like, ooh, whoa. Yikes. Okay, like, even in like the biggest, frattiest, rape culturist world, I can't imagine a conversation that goes, if you don't rape her, I will. Like, yikes. What the hell was that? They can't do that.
This is how people talk.
Yeah, it was. Oh, also, before Pearl admitted to being a vampire, they made out a lot. I bring that up because the next day we get to see a lecture, which is the monster teacher reading this thing from the Goblin Market, and he's reading that, and as he's reading it, Leah is getting all hot and bothered thinking of the last night makeout sesh with Pearl. And then, I'll just we don't need to hear anything. But basically, the Goblin Market is a double metaphor of virginity and impurity. Laura gives in to the goblin seduction, but her love for Lily ultimately saves her from her demise. And thank God she's in this class, because then she immediately calls Pearl and says, we have to talk again. I want to keep seeing you. Because now because she did explain that, like, if I turn you and we're in love, we could just feed off each other. But then she let her leave. Okay. Now back to Macbeth rehearsals, the best part of the movie. This time, it's when Macbeth is killing somebody, and I think his uncle. I think it's that scene. But this is not a dress rehearsal. Like, they're all wearing t-shirts or whatever. But the Coven girls each have a gallon of blood. Like, so on one hand, and they, like, as she's killing him, they throw the buckets of blood on her. So she's got like 3 gallons of fake blood all over her for not the dress rehearsal. And, like, I know that it is, like, a pretty bloody play or whatever, but, like, again, it's just, like, weird that they're doing that, like, now. But, whatever.
I don't know. Sometimes you have to test, like, props like that, before,
I guess.
Like, wet props.
But it's, like, 3 buckets of blood. It doesn't look how it looks. I don't think they're gonna throw it any differently. Also, James Franco does not leave the chair, so even if he wanted it to look, it's not like he's gonna see it from a new angle. He's just gonna be like, yep, she's bloody now. That'll do it. I get, like, rehearsing, like, if it was, like, like, if they use, like, that, like, neck blood things or whatever, but this is just, like, on one hand, like, it was weird too, because I was also looking at this and I was, like, thinking about, like, I don't know, different, like, high school productions I've seen, because I remembered, like, in my drama class and stuff, I could, like, I wasn't in, like, play production, but, like, the teacher would walk us through what play production was doing, and we had to do, like, our own little, our different thing. But anyway, And I just remember her talking about her, like, interpretation of Jesus Christ Superstar. And I was like, I guess this is, like, a fun interpretation of Macbeth, sort of. Because, like, on one hand, I guess it's, like, Macbeth feels the blood on her hands, but it's all over her or something. I don't know. But so, like, I don't think it's that terrible a play, because I'm not, like, a huge Shakespeare fan anyway. But, like, they spent, like, a lot of time for it to not really be, like, they're not, I guess they felt it'd be too much if they were also doing, like, a Dracula play at school or something. Or Carmilla, but honestly, maybe they just didn't even know Carmilla existed, because I would have thought you would have just brought that up, because, like, it's about lesbian vampires, and Carmilla just is a lesbian vampire. But, you know, I wasn't part of this. So, I like how I preface, just don't, I'm not responsible for this.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
I do not own it.
Yeah.
If I did, I'd write it like this.
Yeah. If I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so then also, like, yeah, this is something that Bob brought up. Like, when they do this, the whole blood thing, they're standing, like, in front of her, and, like, she's not really raised at all, so you can just see 3 girls. Maybe you can see them holding buckets, but their backs are to the audience, so they're kind of just, like, blocking the view, I would imagine. Like, it looks like a fun, like, she gets slimed from, like, our thing because the camera moves to the side, but if you're in the yeah, so I don't know. That's just another, like, a little nitpick of mine. Okay, then Pearl and Leah, they have, like, another softcore porn makeout scene, and they discuss, like, her killing habits. Okay, this is, like, you might recall, last night in the chat, I asked the question of, was it, how comfy is Lesbian Missionary in the Woods?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they have a lot of Lesbian Missionary. There's one where it looks like they're doing, like, sort of a doggy style thing. But again, it's, like, in the middle of the woods. I don't remember anyone bringing any, like, a bag big enough to have anything, you know, to use in this. Yeah. Also, like, they're lying very flat. That's enough. Like, no one looks like their knees are bent enough for my, like, it's very strange. I felt very uncomfortable watching it because I don't want to be, like, rude and, like, because they looked like they loved each other. That's
so you didn't want to be rude to the characters or to the actors?
I don't know. It was so weird. It was so, like, I know that during rehearsals and stuff, they've been groping each other. The makeout scenes have been, like, a little hot and heavy, and it was fine, but this was, like, so long of their passionate forest love making. And it was, like, weird because I was like, that doesn't look like it would work. But, like, at the same time, like, I don't know. I couldn't really. There was, like, a blanket too, so, like, maybe it could have, but I don't know. It did not look like it made any sense. It didn't look like their pelvises were close enough at all, because they're basically, like, the same height, and, like, as they're, I guess, like, I don't know. It's just, like, it feels weird because, like, I don't know, like, in movies, do, like, they choreograph the sex scenes? Like, I don't know who to be mad at. Like, I don't know if they practiced, or the director was like, so now you'll flop on her like a fish, and you'll like that about it. And, like, I don't know where my issues lie.
You don't know who to be mad at.
Yeah, it was very confusing. I will, after this, I will just show you the scene, and we can maybe. either we'll edit this out or maybe Bob could show some visuals here of it, because it was very confusing and frustrating because it didn't make sense to me. But anyway, okay, so then at this point, this is when Pearl actually reluctantly tells Leah about the true love thing. And Leah's like, oh yeah, totally, I love you, and then you won't have to be a murderer anymore. That sounds like a win for me. And Pearl's like, no. And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
It's so weird, because then at this point, the coven descends on them threateningly, and so then Pearl tells Leah to run, and then there's a commercial break. Well, like, when it blacks out, but that was the commercial break.
Right.
Leah makes it home, and then she just gets prepared for the Halloween party. Her and her mom fight again. Then at the party she sees Bob, and he's dressed as Dracula. And then it's so weird because she's like, so tragically misunderstood. And then he's like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, he wasn't in that class you had, weeks ago? Why are you making a callback to the fact that Dracula was queer? Your teacher's words. It was so weird because she's like, this is a joke I know. And it's like, why are you, like, you already broke this guy's heart. You stole the role. I think, if I remember correctly in the beginning, I do think he said he was really excited and nervous, but he really hoped he could be Macbeth. And it's like, it's fine that you auditioned. You shouldn't stop auditioning because someone wants it. But, like, I thought you were friends.
Yeah.
You could just tell him. You have, like, wrecked his life. Like, it's weird because then, like, okay, Bob's, spoiler alert, basically becomes an irredeemable incel.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
interesting direction.
He first says, like, hey, like, all that jazz from before, like, I'm sorry, I, didn't, like, I was upset before, but, like, I just want you to be happy, and, like, so if Leah is it, then, like, whatever. Let's just be friends. It's fine. And then she's like, I'm glad to hear that. He gives her a drink. Obviously, it's drugged.
Obviously.
And, so then she wanders off and dances. This is the thing. She dances in a very flirtatious manner with some random girl. Maybe a coven girl, but does not seem like it. It almost seemed like she thought it was Pearl, but, like, it's just the drugs that she was given, I guess. The coven girls are there in, like, weird animal masks that don't really blend in with the party at all, because, like, they're not really costumes. It's not like Mean Girls lingerie or anything. It's just, like, our clothes we wear every day, but with weird masks.
Like, it's a masquerade.
Yeah, like, she wore a masquerade outfit too, but, like, it was still, like, almost kind of like an angel costumey kind of, I don't know. It was just weird. They're, like, the only ones wearing, like, because it looked like more like those plastic Bill Clinton masks, but animals. Not the Bill Clinton ones that go all the way over your head, but the ones that are in front of your face.
Yeah, with, like, the elastic.
Yeah, like with a band in the back kind of.
Yeah.
So they were weird. They were not the vibe at all. But anyway, Bob helps her outside, and this was, again, I don't know why who approved this. Like, I know it's Lifetime, and, like, but there's a difference between, like, a campy murder and two essay scenes, one figurative and one very literal. Like, he drugged her. She is clearly trying to resist. It is not okay. It is a big old yikes.
Yikes.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah. And it's, again, story by James Franco. Just
as a
pepper
reminder.
that in again. Yeah, just yeah. We'll just put a little, like, flashing James Franco head every time he's mentioned. But anyway, he's like, so creepy. But anyway, suddenly he's attacked by the Night Walkers and they feed on him. So I guess it's good that they're sort of like a girls squad who they do stick by. I thought they were just doing that for Pearl's benefit, but it does seem like they just, if you're abusive, we're gonna kill you. Which I guess that's also just like a good method to use, I guess, because it's like, I don't know, they don't cover their tracks well at all. And there's like, we don't hear any new, with that last guy at the party, we did see them like drag the girl outside in the hallway. She was like, I guess they drugged her so that they could kill the guy, but then he was like dead. But then like some roommate comes up and they're like, oh my god, like Michelle or whatever your name is, what's going on? A dead body. And like, no, we don't hear anything about it again. Like, no one's like reading a newspaper or anything about it. Just like, they don't care, which is like your vampires, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know if you could really be, I would love to know like what the legal proceedings for that would be. Because like, on one hand, if you could prove, cause like on one hand, if you can prove that you need blood to live and like no one's giving it to you otherwise, like, because animal cruelty is also a crime, so like, I don't know, I guess it would just like I guess it would just like hold you as best they can until they could just send you outside at daytime. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, they're feasting, but then Tori Spelling comes out looking for her, and she's obviously, like, horrified. The next morning, Leah realizes that Bob drugged her, and Tori's like, Bob's been missing since last night. And it was, like, weird because part of me was like, okay, that makes, like, do you not believe her? What's happening? But then she uses this as a thing because she doesn't want Leah in the play anymore. And then Leah's like, well, it's opening night, so I'm going. I also don't know if there's going to be multiple showings or just the one.
Well, if it's opening, if she said opening night specifically.
I don't remember if she said opening night. I know that the play is tonight. I don't remember if I added that or not. But either way. Yeah, so, so Tori compromises and says, fine, but I'm going to drop her off. And I'm like, okay, well, like, you were going to her play anyway, weren't you? Like, at the very least. So then she calls Pearl and asks her to come to the play. And the Nightwalkers intimidate Leah while she's in makeup and costuming. And they do this weird warm-up exercise, and it's like really ominous because like James Franco is there. But, like, no, because they're doing like these, like, I don't know, like they're all like in a circle, and he's like feeling like the vibe out around. He's like, yeah, this is gonna be great. And I'm like, you haven't done a thing at all. You have watched attractive college co-eds or like grope each other and raise your eyebrows and tug your collar and hit your head as your tongue rolls out on the floor. That is what you have done. So anything that happens today is not because of you at all. It's because Leah took it upon herself to direct this masterpiece of Macbeth. But anyway,
I can tell you have big feelings about this.
Yeah, like, it was so frustrating to me, one, because he's James Franco, but two, because, like, okay, I'll get to the final nail in his little coffin, his last appearance, but okay. But then at the end of the warm-up, someone's like, has anyone seen Bob? And, like, nobody knows. Oh, but then at the end, he just shows up, and he's, like, a nice guy. He's, like, a little weird. He's like talking to Leah, and she'll be like, when they're alone, he's like, so did you have fun at the party? You drugged me. Focus, we have our big scene coming up, the one where I kill you. So he's been Joker-fied. Okay, so then they start performing, and this is like the big scene, and this is like I said earlier, I was really hoping they'd bring up that C-section line because I wanted to remember how that all went. They don't. Instead, they're not doing Macbeth anymore.
Oh, what?
He starts actually attacking her, laughing, talking maniacally, like it's not like, you know, sometimes in movies they'll be like, they'll use the play that they're in, but like they're changing it to apply to them, kind of a thing. He's not doing that. He's like, I, Bob, hate you, Leah, because of this. Like, not like, but that, like, that out of character. Okay. And then James Franco is confused. Bob calls her a freak. His eyes turn red because, like, they didn't finish eating him. So he's like, he says, I'm gonna turn you into a night walker, bitch. And at this point, oh my goodness, at this point, they start, anytime the Coven says stuff, there'll be like this added filter to when they say stuff. So like, hear what I said, but with like if I had like, I don't know, a voice modulator thing with it too. And I was like, I did not realize that was a perk of being a night walker.
Voice filter.
Yeah. James Franco's confused. Tori Spelling gasps. And then Leah just screams, drops her sword, and runs through the audience out the door. And they chase after her. James Franco just, this is his final moment. He says, where are you going? Hey! And then he looks at this full crowd of people who are all bewildered. And he's like, thanks for coming, everyone. That's Macbeth. And then they awkwardly applaud and leave. Tori Spelling just watched her daughter flee in terror, but we don't even see her leave. But then Leah's back at the cemetery, and Tori runs in and tries to stop them, but they kill the crap out of her.
Oh my gosh.
She is super, super dead. And it's like weird because they didn't resolve anything between them. They're not going to have a final conversation like, I actually didn't mind Pearl that much. Nothing. She's just
gone.
She's out of the... She's just gone and dead. Okay, so then Pearl comes in and she fights all of them. She shoves them into a tombstone. She rips out their throat. And it's like, there's like a lot of cuts between this whole scene. Leah like beats Bob's face in with a big rock. Pearl digs a girl's eyes out. Like, again, Tori.
Okay, Lifetime.
Super like, it was really brutal for a Lifetime movie. I was like, how many times did this air? I am like, I'm not even like, I was just so... Here's my thing. I really, if there was more of like the carnage of it all, I would be cool. But because they had those, all the like metaphorical homophobia throughout this whole movie, that like, cause like basically the moral of the story is still that like, well, Pearl's just trying to make an honest woman out of Leah, so that's okay. We can handle the good married gays. It's those promiscuous lesbians that want to rape everybody into their group thing or whatever. Like, literally my grandma's version of vampire, of lesbians.
Of vampires.
Vampire as well. Now they got me saying it. I don't know what's real, what's a vampire, what's a lesbian. They're the same. Okay. So then Pearl tells Leah that they have to leave her mom's body and flee, and then Leah cries into the night. The vampires get back up, including Bob. This was not enough to kill them.
Oh.
We watch them sort of like, it looks like kind of like a little like contortion-y as they like come back to life. Leah once again asks to be turned because she's like, look, they're gonna keep coming until you turn me. And I was like, yeah, honestly, like, once you brought it up and she was down, if you had just turned her then, this wouldn't have happened. I don't know why you wanted to wait. This was like, you killed her mom. Basically, that's by waiting. But I guess they did say they were gonna make lesbian sex dangerous again.
Yeah?
For your mom. Not you. But Pearl, she agrees. She's going to turn her. And this is such a weird... Okay, so she's like, is it gonna hurt? And Pearl's like, yes, but I'm gonna be with you the whole time. And she tries to, like... She's holding her, but it's like we're watching this very painful process. And now she's a night walker and sad. Yeah, again, we do not... That's it for them. Now it's gonna be 1 year later.
Oh, okay.
In an edgy font, and the vampires are wearing some masks, and they enter a party in slow-mo. It's like some Halloween party kind of deal. They remove their masks, and they all have... They haven't healed complete. Like, it wasn't like a Wolverine regenerative deal. He still has, like... His face is, like... healed over the getting your face bashed in with a rock, as best you can, but he can see. Girl doesn't have eyes anymore, but they healed over where they would have been, so it's like a lot of... It's very fleshy, and I'm like, okay. And then it's just them being vampires. And that's the end of Mother May I Sleep with Danger.
Why did they end with that?
I don't know. I don't know why they did anything they did in this movie. But it was like... I could see it being spooky for somebody.
So... if Bob had... Like, was his motivation for turning her... then he could feed on her forever because she was his true love?
No, that's the thing, they don't clarify. So if it's not true love, they don't say it, but like I'm assuming you'd be poisonous to each other. Otherwise, why not just feed on each other?
Yeah.
'Cause like, if we don't have to, like, you know, I don't know what the deal is with that. It has to. You can only feed off your true love. That's all they say. They don't give any more information than that. I think he just... But it's weird, too, because, like... I guess if he turned her... Again, it's just assault. Because she doesn't love her. But she did tell Pearl she was down, so I don't know why... Like, at that point, it's just a protection. But that's the same dumb thing that Edward did. He's like, I can't turn you even though you want to be turned. And it's like... I mean... Okay. But then... It was that... Oh, man, I'm beginning to think maybe I just am not as big into vampire things as I thought. Because, like... you know what's so weird? You know how, like, Interview with a Vampire is, like, super gay, except Anne Rice doesn't think that?
Yeah.
I think, one, that's great. But two... like... I wonder how she felt about the movie, because, like, the movie was real gay, too.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, because, like... But, yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, other vampire things where, like, they want to be turned. Once you can't not turn them, basically. Like, I don't know why Edward was like, no, you need to stay human forever. And it's like, okay, like, it's cute you want your pet project or whatever, but, like, she's getting hunted every day and she can't do anything. So that's, honestly, I don't know, did we talk about, like, that weird abusive dynamic about their relationship? Because, like, has the means to help her protect herself and just does it so that he can protect her.
I don't think we brought up it as like an abuse thing, but yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, we talked about it. Like, she's just getting hunted all the time. She can't do anything.
Yeah. Like, yeah, because, like, I don't know. Even, like, because there are vampire hunters. Like, you know, I mean, we don't meet any in the franchise. They rule unopposed. But, like, I don't know. I think it would have been interesting if Stephanie Meyer included Bella watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer and practicing in her room. Like, cause like, I think that, cause like, if Bella's gonna be the star of the movie, could she like kick a vampire in the face like once? Like,
of course not.
Even when they, in the end, when they have their big fight scene, that was all a dream that didn't happen.
She didn't do anything.
Golly.
I mean, that was our main takeaway from the whole thing anyway, right?
Yeah,
is that Bella she doesn't do anything in any of the movies.
She is such a passive force in her own life. So I guess that's one thing, like, Leah, at least, like, you know, she wants to be Macbeth. She tries out for things. She's very confident. You know, she's not the best communicator. I think she really should. Now she has forever to work on that. But I'm sorry, I'm still reeling from how dead Tori Spelling is. On one hand, like, maybe that was like, she never really did come around to the whole not being cool with a gay, so I guess it's good that they just killed her. But like, Leah did not seem to want that ending.
Right.
But I guess they're just like, well, if you're gonna be with a girl, you know, you can't have your mom. I don't know. It's so weird. And then, like, we don't even see them as we don't see what Leah and Pearl are up to. We see what the villains are up to.
So weird.
Yeah, no, all in all, it was a very, very bizarre movie. I am not okay with it. Like, I really, even still, like, I don't know. I really think James Franco just thought it would be cool to have some goth lesbians in a movie, and
it kind of sounds like that, you know?
I really, like, that's just how it tracks. But, yeah. Okay. So, we had a lot of fun here. If you want to hang out with us some more, you can join our Discord. The link's in the description. Thank you, Rogue, for dishing about this vamp trash with me.
Spooky and lesbians. We've combined the best 2 months.
Yay! That's what October is all about. And thank you guys for listening. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe because we all need friends. Okay, bye.
Bye.